It was the result that every Palace fan dreamt of. A 3-0 battering of Liverpool last episode secured the Carabao Cup trophy for the first time in Crystal Palace's history. And now, in today's season finale, it's time to turn our attention back to the Premier League and continue our fight for a spot in Europe next season. Oddly enough, though, that Carabao Cup victory wasn't the only major talking point of last episode. In fact, it was this huge change from this 5-2-2-1 formation over to a far more attacking 3-4-2-1. Now, I guess technically on paper things might not seem too different. We've pretty much got all the same players playing in my starting 11. We've still got 3 centre-backs playing. It's just that we've pushed the likes of Mitchell and Munoz right up the field to try and support the likes of Vieira, Raksaki and Dominic Solanke. And whilst judging by some results last episode, the AI may have struggled with this new setup, but I've got to be honest, I absolutely loved it and I felt I was playing some of the best attacking football I've played all season. Now obviously it does mean that it demands far more from my 3 key centre-backs, the likes of Joachim Andersen, of course the 23-year-old Englishman Mark Gay, and of course the 22-year-old Ecuadorian William Pacho. However, I do feel like they all have the potential ability to make this formation work. All 3 of them have now gone from a 70-something rating all the way up to at least an 80. They're giving some serious protection to this man, the 26-year-old Dean Henderson, in between the sticks, and it seems like his performances are reflecting that as well, with 10 clean sheets so far this season. But for me, it's up front where this system is really coming alive. Dominic Solanke was struggling in the second half of the season to find his feet, but every single time I've played with him, he's been absolutely rampant up front, scoring against both the likes of Manchester United and Liverpool last episode. And as for Eze and Raksaki, this man is really starting to take the Premier League by storm. Just 21 years of age, already up to a 73 rated, and he's got 8 goals and 5 assists so far this campaign. I'm really hoping he can develop into a world-class talent here at Crystal Palace under this new system. However, unfortunately, I'm not really sure the same can be said about the 23-year-old Portuguese Fabio Vieira, only just joined in the summer for a fee of £16 million from Arsenal, having lost his position there. And perhaps with only 2 goals so far in 28 appearances, it's not hard to see why. The young man really hasn't lived up to his potential, and at the moment, much to my surprise, is being completely outshone by this man, Eze and Raksaki. And obviously, with us just having a mere few months left of this season, and with the ample suggestions that all of you guys have suggested to me to play in that central attacking midfield position, perhaps in the start of Season 2, if he wants to keep his place in the starting 11 here at Crystal Palace, he's really going to have to step up his performances in the business end of the season. For me, though, the plaudits and potentially the big question mark, it must be said, has to go to this man, Adam Wharton. He's been absolutely crucial in the heart of my midfield. He's now up to a 78 rated, and his performance against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final was nothing short of sensational. But with a new contract for the young man, only enough to keep him sweet this season, and with the big clubs really starting to sniff around for his signature, just how much longer can I keep the young 20-year-old at Crystal Palace? Perhaps, though, if we can achieve European football for the first time in Crystal Palace's history, maybe that might be something that can convince him to stay. But as you can see at the moment, we are down in 8th place, 40 points on the board, and we've got at least 6 to make up on Manchester United in 5th if we want to try and see if we can get back into those European spots. As I said, the burning question going into this season finale is if I'm going to stick with this 3-4-2-1 attack-minded setup, or I'm going to go back to my usual 5-2-2-1. But with morale at an all-time high following on from that victory in the Carabao Cup, it's kind of hard for me to turn my back on a system that has brought us so much success. And after managing to get a 1-1 draw away from home against Spurs, absolutely smashing Luton Town 3-0 at home, before dominating Burnley 5-0 in our very next game, and beating Nottingham Forest away from home 2-0, it seems like that momentum from that Carabao Cup victory has lifted itself over to the Premier League, as we now have 51 points on the board, and we sit just 2 points behind that Manchester United team in 5th place. The chase for European football is very much on, and it seems like from absolutely nowhere, Fabio Vieira has heeded the warning that he received at the beginning of the episode, as 5 goals in his last few games means he's now up to 7 goals and 6 assists, and my word, what a turnaround in fortunes for the 23-year-old Portuguese. But now it is time to see just how good this team is and just how good that man is, as we're about to go up in a huge test at home against the Premier League champions Manchester City. As you can see, no change to my usual starting 11, and despite Vieira being a little bit fatigued with his current run of form, I can do nothing but keep him in the starting 11. So it's Nathan Ake now to bring this one out of defence for Manchester City and get the ball rolling, and they are now working their way into the edge of my penalty area here. Doku now to just burst past Munoz like he's not even there and tries to cut back inside. Can't do enough to win the ball back. Rodri, though, is blocked off by Mark Gay, and I said at the beginning of the episode, my 3 centre-backs are having an absolutely fabulous season here, as is that man Adam Wharton as it goes out for a throw. Takuna once again for City, out to Doku. Munoz comes across though to cover him, really good defending, and Mark Gay now gives it to the man of the moment, Fabio Vieira, and he now is going to try and see if he can release the ball out to Munoz on the right-hand side. He's done a really good job. Another right back and try and see if he can thread the ball through here. Look at Dominic Solanke. Maybe he could have taken it on himself. It's Alvarez, though. Lovely pass into Doku, and Doku now is going to try and burst into the box here. Anderson hasn't got the pace to beat him, and he's got the composure just to slide it past Dean Henderson to give Manchester City a 1-0 lead inside the opening 25 minutes. Well, from one end of the field to the other, with Munoz out of position, having made that burst forward earlier on, he was caught out, and of course Anderson was never going to be able to keep up with the pace of the Belgian Doku, and in the end he just slid it past the goalkeeper. Beautiful finish. 1-0 City. To Anderson now, out to Pacho. Pacho now is going to bring this one forward into Decore, who's been uncharacteristically quiet so far, but that is a brilliant lung-bursting run there from the young man as he tries to play it through into Dominic Solanke, who too has been very quiet, hasn't exactly had the service so far in this game, but Phil Foden now is going to try and see if he can make a change here for Manchester City. It's out wide now to John Stones, who's playing at right back now, back out to Phil Foden, lovely ball, who just about somehow manages to keep that in play. How on earth has he managed to do that? City continue to try and bring this one forward, looking to try and see if they can find any options, but it's blocked off by Decore. He just held on to it a little bit too long. This Manchester City press is really starting to hurt us, but eventually he does manage to get the ball away. Now Tyrick Mitchell can bring it forward. Raksaki on the left-hand side, back into Mitchell. Mitchell now into Fabio Vieira, who's kept his line. Can he play a ball forward? No, he can't. We're just being crowded out at the moment. We can't quite find that final ball in the final third. So we start off this second half really unable to carve out any decent opportunities so far. It's been a real struggle in front of goal. Manchester City have been the better of the two teams. We've got to try and see if we can make amends here in the second half as Decore with another lung-bursting run through the heart of the midfield. And once again, it's the final ball that's lacking. It's Bernardo Silva. Oh, nice little turn away from the challenger Raksaki there. Just sold me a dummy, and I totally and utterly fell for it. As John Stones now back into Julian Alvarez, who plays it infield to Bernardo Silva. Lovely ball into Rodri. This is fabulous football hit from Manchester City. Forces the goalkeeper into a save. And it's going to be a corner here that they're going to swing into the penalty spot. It is thrown in, and it's Stones with a lovely header. Loops it over Dean Henderson to double Manchester City's lead. Well, they made it look easy. Normally on set pieces, we are really good. My three towering centre-backs normally get ahead of the attackers, but this time we couldn't. John Stones got there ahead of us instead. Looped it over the goalkeeper. Dean Henderson's frustrated, but he can do nothing about it. It's 2-0 Manchester City. So it's Pacho to bring it out of defence now. Really good run, but runs into trouble in the end and has to go back to Tyrick Mitchell. Anderson under a bit of pressure there from Erling Haaland. City, of course, pressing high as they always do. We're trying to see if we can find an opening here, but City's defence has been rock solid. And look at that, we've gone and given it away once again. It's been a really poor performance so far here from Crystal Palace here, as Manchester City are running riot, but in the end, Pacho just does enough to win the ball back. And now, with Manchester City having players out of position, can we try and see if we can take advantage here? As Vieira is going to try and see if he can burst down this right-hand side. He just doesn't have the stamina, though, to continue his run. And in the end, manages to find the overlap in Munoz, who's going to float it across, looking for Raksaki. It comes off the goalkeeper, and that's the best chance we've had all game. There's about 5 minutes remaining on the clock here, and as you can see, we're still pressing high. Almost every single man is inside this Manchester City half here as we desperately try and see if we can get a goal, and they look to try and see if they can hold on to this 2-0 lead. But at the moment, it looks like they're going to try and see if they can add a third, but Mark A comes across with a crunching challenge. There's John Stones with the throw here. About 2 minutes plus stoppage time remaining on the clock, and we're asking for a miracle if we want to try and see and find a route back into this game. But miracles do often come to those who want them, and Dominic Solanke now still has the legs to burst down this right-hand side. What options does he have in the box? Does he need any options? Takes it on himself, and in the end drags it wide. Well, frustratingly, in the end, that was the last chance of the game as I shake the hand of Pep Guardiola, who salutes the travelling fans. The golfing quality just too much for me to contain as City run out the 2-0 victors. Well, I tell you what, I felt like I was on a roller coaster last episode. I feel like I'm back on it this one. We've gone from the AI not being able to buy a win with this new system and me playing the best football of my entire career mode to me really struggling in front of goal, and now the AI taking the lead. To be fair to Dominic Solanke, he never stopped running and he gave absolutely everything he could up front, evidenced by the fact that he was continuing to try and score deep into stoppage time. But unfortunately, it was just the performances of those around him not really being able to give that final pass in the final third to unlock what was a very stubborn Manchester City defence. In some other sad transfer news though, with the arrival of Kyle Walker-Peters in January and with Nathaniel Klein now 33, 74 rated and entering the final few months of his contract, unfortunately with me being unwilling to renew his contract heading into Season 2, things are not going to be ending on a particularly positive note between myself himself and the experience right back. And with him looking to secure his future heading into the final few seasons of his career, he's decided to snap up a move to Porto when the transfer window opens next summer. And now with us falling down to 7th place, just 51 points on the board, we've got a real uphill challenge if we want to try and fight our way back into the European spots. And after losing to a 10-man Liverpool away from home 3-1, and then losing at home 2-1 against West Ham, and then getting beaten 4 times on the bounce, this time at home against Newcastle United 2-1, suddenly with both form and morale right through the floor, I think once again I'm going to have to take matters back into my own hands here and try and see if I can resurrect this poor run of form, this time travelling away from home against a resurgent Fulham team in a game that we absolutely must get 3 points from. And with a little bit of fatigue creeping in as we head towards the back end of the season, I have had to make a couple of changes to my usual starting 11. Jefferson Lerma comes in at the back to form a partnership with Anderson and Mark Gay, and also Mateta comes in to play behind Dominic Solanke and Fabio Vieira as Raksaki drops to the bench. So it's Anderson now, all the way over to the right hand side, but gives it away. It was really well read by the left back, and then even better read by Anderson again to make up for his earlier mistake here as Mark Gay plays it across to Jefferson Lerma. Living life on the edge there were my 3 centre-backs, but we just about managed to get the ball clear here. And Jefferson Lerma now is going to try and see if he can feed one out to Mateta. Down this left-hand side, the young man eager to try and see if he can find a route back into our starting 11, having lost his place to Dominic Solanke. It's Fabio Vieira now, trying to see if he can shift it onto that dangerous left foot, but instead finds Munoz, who just knocked it in with his left, but it was a really good save from the goalkeeper, but a much better start here from Crystal Palace. It's Munoz now once again. We're really in the ascendancy here. Great start as Fabio Vieira now into the box, cuts it back for Dominic Solanke on his right. Oh my word, he's absolutely blazed that one over the bar. It's Decore once again now in the heart of my midfield into Adam Wharton. He turns around, tries to find Fabio Vieira, instead gives the ball away here. And now Fulham are away indeed. Out to Raul in the centre. He's blocked off though by Anderson. Some really good defending from my centre-back. And now Fabio Vieira can release a wonderful ball into Mateta. And now the striker can try and see if he can burst forward here. Tried to see if he could shoot. It was blocked off by the defender. We got a corner. But one thing Fabio Vieira is really good at doing is just cutting across and playing those through balls in with his left foot. He did it in the Carabao Cup final and set up Raksaki. And he almost did it once again there to try and set up Mateta. But it wasn't meant to be. This time he's going to try and set himself up. He hits it with his right. It's blocked. Mateta has it once again though, and he's going to try and turn this time to Jefferson Lerma into Decore. He turns around himself and is looking for an option. He finds an option of Adam Wharton. Adam Wharton round the corner into Munoz. Munoz now across into Vieira on his right. Falls to Dominic Solanke, and he's not going to miss from there on the volley. A much deserved 1-0 lead here, and it's of course that man Dominic Solanke who's given it to us. Well, we've battered Fulham from pillar to post all game. This has been a much better performance, and Fabio Vieira, everything has come through him, and he got a bit unlucky. He got a deflection off the defender, but Dominic Solanke doesn't care one bit. It fell right into his path, and of course, lovely little volley into the bottom left-hand corner. It's 1-0 Crystal Palace. So with that turning out to be the last attack and the last real chance of the first half, we begin this second with a 1-0 advantage. I've got to be honest, I feel like on the balance of play, we really deserve more than that. But we've got to make sure we don't do anything silly here in the second and give away any soft goals. There's Adam Wharton now into Munoz. Nice little turn to get away from the defender and plays it out to, of course, that man, Fabio Vieira, the man of the episode so far, bursting onto the edge of the box. Gets a corner, and it's one that Adam Wharton is going to take, and he's going to try and see if he can float this one into the penalty spot, looking for the big man Anderson. Almost find him. It falls to Gay. It's a huge save from the goalkeeper. That is absolutely brilliant from Leno. It's Anderson, though, who will pick up the scraps. Plays it back into Mark Gay. My centre-backs are the ones I want in the box. It was played in, I believe, to Dominic Solanke, but he couldn't quite get his head on it, and Fulham get it clear. There's Jefferson Lerma now, out to Munoz once again on the right-hand side. Fabio Vieira has options ahead. Manages to find one of those options in Dominic Solanke, who, of course, bursts into the box here, full of confidence from his earlier goal. Can he take it on? He just didn't have the pace to get away from the defender. I think it was that final touch that just took it away from him. That was another big opportunity. Castagna down the left-hand side. Plays it into Kakare. Lovely ball into Cavaliero now. And he's got options and space here on this left-hand side. Tries to play it central. And in the end, it falls to Raul, but it falls to Lukic. That's straight into the arms of Henderson. And that is a let-off for us. And a very big warning sign that this game is not done. So it's into Mateta now. Mateta into Vieira. Vieira plays it right across to Mitchell. Has the young man stayed onside? No, he hasn't. We've got about 10 minutes remaining on the clock here to hold on to what will be a much-needed victory. But you can sense there are a few nerves here amongst these players as we eagerly try and get back into the win column after a poor run of form. And with passes like that, we are not helping the situation as Fulham now are starting to find a route back into this game. Cavaliero gets away from the defenders. Into the box he goes. Henderson doesn't do enough. It goes through his arms, and we've gone and thrown away a lead here. Fulham get themselves back on level terms. Well, I said the nerves were creeping into the Crystal Palace players. Where on earth was Mark Gay going? We just didn't have the pace to get back into line. Could Henderson have done better there? It just fell in between his arms and his leg. He couldn't do enough to keep it out of the back of the net. Fulham back in the game, 1-1. It's Mark Gay now into Raksaki on as a sub. The cavalry are hopefully coming here. Solanke's going to try and play this one into Franca. The young man has the opportunity to put his name up in lights and he blazes it over the bar. And with that miss, the referee calls time on what has been a very interesting game here at Craven Cottage. There's nothing to separate the two teams at full time. It finishes 1-1. Well, you can say that again. Missed chances certainly cost us a huge victory. Oh, Franca. What an opportunity at the end to really show that potential that apparently you have. But he just couldn't take it. He had the moment to really put a marker down and try and see if he could challenge the likes of Eze and Raksaki and Fabio Vieira for a starting spot in that central attacking midfield role, but he just couldn't take it, and that could have dire consequences for the back end of our season. We've got just 3 games to go, 52 points on the board, 7 points behind Spurs in 5th place, and we certainly need a miracle if we want to be playing European football next season. And with one of those teams in Manchester United, that very team that we're going to be welcoming to Selhurst Park in our very next game, it is absolutely right that we will see out this season in our own hands to try and see if we can get a much needed 3 points. Of course, it's a Manchester United team that will be absolutely desperate to right the wrongs of their performance in the Carabao Cup after they got knocked out in the semi-final. It's Crystal Palace, it's Manchester United at Selhurst Park. Kobbie Mainoo though to burst through the centre of the park here, chased down by Adam Wharton. Really good challenge from the young Englishman. One challenge from one Englishman to another, and this time it's Casemiro who comes across, but Wharton is almost taken out there by Mainoo. There's a real fire between the two of them here as they both vie for a spot in the England national team here. Perhaps Gareth Southgate is watching in the stands. It's a short free kick though, out to Munoz. Munoz plays it forward to Raksaki. What options does he have? The young man trying to see if he can get away from the Manchester United press, and he almost managed to wriggle his way through into the box, but eventually they just managed to clear their lines here as Anthony now brings it forward into the path of that man, Kobbie Mainoo. Plays it back into Højlund, gets it back. Adam Wharton couldn't get there in time. It's Malero, I believe so, into the box, into Bruno Fernandes. This time it's Anderson, who comes across, and I've got a real feeling that this game is going to be very end-to-end for the entire 90 minutes as United are back into the box here as Malero is just tipped over by Dean Henderson. What a big save. Ten Hag can't believe it. United have got a corner, and it's one it looks like they are going to take short here with Anthony. They do take it short, and it's back to Malero once again. Lovely little turn away from Tyrick Mitchell, totally sold in the dummy. Anthony on the edge of the box into Harry Maguire, out to Luke Shaw, and he made a right hash of that one. And we breathe a sigh of relief. Munoz skips away from a challenge there. And can he try and play a ball into Fabio Vieira? He does. And now the Portuguese is clean through here. Can he try and see if he can utilise that earlier form? And he does just that. A wonderful finish. Manchester United at 6s and 7s at the back. And with 18 minutes on the clock, Crystal Palace take a much needed 1-0 lead. Well, he was played through and the defence was just carved open at will. That high line costing Manchester United. And when Fabio Vieira went clean through, there was absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind that he was just going to place that one into the top right-hand corner. Lovely finish, 1-0. Mark Gay, once again, under a bit of pressure here from Manchester United's press. We just about managed to wriggle away from it. Decore into Adam Wharton. Wharton now out to Munoz. We've done a really good job of beating that press, and Munoz tries to see if he can get past Shaw. Isn't able to, though. Casemiro into Bruno Fernandes. This game is absolutely electric. The atmosphere here is phenomenal at Selhurst Park as it's played through into Højlund. Højlund strikes from distance wide into Tyrick Mitchell. Once again, United pressing high, and this time they win the ball back, but Decore manages to pick up the scraps into Raksaki, who's had to come deep to try and see if he can get himself involved, and the young man bursting through the absolute heart of the Manchester United midfield there into Fabio Vieira, out to Munoz on the right hand side. Munoz to play it across, looking for the ball into Solanke. This time it's just too close to the goalkeeper. Mitchell has it for Crystal Palace with the throw into Decore. About 40 minutes on the clock here as we try and see if we can double our lead right on the stroke of half time. It's floated in by Mitchell to absolutely no one, but Luke Shaw, my word, took liberties there, chesting the ball down inside his own penalty area, and he almost chested it into the back of his own net, but eventually he did just about manage to volley that one clear, and Manchester United clear their lines out to Wan-Bissaka on the right hand side, and he's got the beating of Tyrick Mitchell for base here as he bursts into space. What options has he got ahead of him? Anderson comes across, floated in. Mark Gay just about does enough with a diving header to clear our lines for half time. Absolutely electric 45 minutes here in the opening half here at Selhurst Park, but at the moment we have the lead. We've got to make sure that we hold on to it, as we were not able to against Fulham, as Raksaki bursts forward. Now the young man tries to hit it with his left. It gets deflected. Mitchell will pick up the scraps and floats it across, looking for Munoz. In the end it went to absolutely no one, and it will go off for a Manchester United throw into Casemiro. United building out from the back here. Malero down the left-hand side. Nice little ball into Højlund. He's unmarked. He's going to try and see if he can burst into the edge of the box here. Tries to get past Adam Wharton. Isn't able to get past Mark Gay, though. Really good recovery defending from the Englishman. Doucouré's under all sorts of problems, but eventually just manages to wriggle away from it. And yet again, we are building out from the back. This lovely little tiki-taka style is serving us well so far. It's dinked over. Looking at Dominic Solanke, but Johnny Evans wins the ball back here with Evans and Harry Maguire at the back. We really should be looking to try and see if we can beat this high line and beat that press, but at the moment, it's only the one goal so far that Fabio Vieira scored. Bruno Fernandes now to bring it away into Højlund. Højlund with a lovely ball into Anthony on the right-hand side. Gives it back to Højlund, who fires it into the back of the net, and Manchester United are level. Well, once again, we've taken a 1-0 lead, and we've totally thrown it away. This time, it was all too easy to get through my defence in wide areas, and Højlund, when he was in that position, sent Henderson the wrong way once again at his near post. Should the goalkeeper have done better? I would argue he should from that angle, but it was poor from everyone all round. I'm frustrated. 1-1. Malero now for Manchester United. They've got the bit between their teeth here. They are sensing blood, and my defence is all over the place. I can't seem to switch to any of the players I want. What is happening? I'm absolutely smashing L1, and it's just not responding. My defenders have their heads in their hands. Mason Mount says thank you very much. 5 minutes, United have turned the game on the head. Well, I was smashing L1 to try and get focus onto some of these players, and every single time I did, it seemed like they were running away from the ball. Beyond frustrating, gaping holes in my defence. Manchester United take advantage, 2-1. Mark Gay dinks it over to Kyle Walker-Peters, who goes and gives it away, and our heads have well and truly dropped here. United are all over us, and we're giving away balls left, right and centre. Casemiro now to try and see if he can bring this one forward for United. Out to Wan-Bissaka. They know all they need to do is just stay composed, stay calm, keep hold of possession, but at the moment it looks like they're going to try and see if they can add a third to put this game to bed. Lovely play here. Through my defence, into Bruno Fernandes, into Mason Mount, and just like that, Manchester United have got a 2-goal cushion. It is absolutely sublime, and we are falling apart before our very eyes. Well, my defence has been totally and utterly undone. Fabulous football from Manchester United, and Mason Mount at the double. That's a brilliant finish, just curved away from Dean Henderson. The goalkeeper could do absolutely nothing about that one. United lead 3-1. Well, United once again, they look like they're absolutely rampant here. Back into my half. And I've got to be honest, if we're not careful, this is going to turn into an absolute rout. Højlund blocked off by Anderson. He just about manages to wriggle away from a couple of challenges and burst past into Doucouré. Doucouré now into Rak-Sakyi as we look to try and see if we can get back a shred of dignity here. Merlin to burst past Wan-Bissaka on as a sub. He's got the pace and he's got the stamina here to try and play it into the box. It's right over the top, into Mateta. It falls to Dominic Solanke, but Onana gets there first. Well, as you can see, Anderson looks to the floor. The captain knows that game is surely now the end of our European hopes this season. As at full-time here, it finishes Crystal Palace 1, Man United 3. And as we see out the end of the season, the slump actually continued because we ended up dropping down and finishing in 9th place in the league. I've got to be honest, although there were some serious highs with this new setup, I'm just not quite sure it is the long-term option for us. Whether or not I go back to this 5-2-2-1 or I experiment with something completely different heading into Season 2, I am unsure at this moment in time. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Dominic Solanke ends up our top goal scorer at the end of the season with 19 goals and 5 assists in his maiden campaign in a Crystal Palace shirt. Fabio Vieira, after all the talk at the beginning of the episode, follows him up in 2nd place with 10 goals and 7 assists. Munoz actually comes in, our right back, with 9 goals and 6 assists, and Rak-Sakyi, his form just tailed off a little bit towards the back end of the season. Just 8 goals and 6 assists for him in 40 appearances. And whilst there might be a little bit of discontent with the Crystal Palace fans at the back end of the season, it seems like the board are happy with that mid-table finish. And considering we sold our 2 best players at the beginning of the season, plus we had restrictions on just how much of this budget we could utilise, overall I think I'm pretty comfortable with how this team has performed. Moving into next season though, there can be absolutely no doubt that we certainly need some improvements if we want to get to the next level. Perhaps some improvements in the centre of the park with the likes of Hughes and Jefferson Lerma clearly not up to scratch, and certainly in the central attacking midfield position with Rak-Sakyi's form tailing off and Fabio Vieira having a little bit of a difficult start to life in Crystal Palace colours. And of course, with all the suggestions that you guys have provided me, it is certainly going to be a position that I'm going to look to try and improve at the beginning of Season 2. For now though, that is where we are going to end this episode, this season finale and the end of Season 1. Thank you everyone for watching, I really do appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you again for the start of Season 2.